Well, good evening, good people. May the fourth be with you. At any rate, we're on the May the 4th Astro Cafe, Victoria Center of RASC's wonderful gathering electronically and in person. We've got a wild party going here, cookies all quadrants. We're having a great time. And actually, we've even opened up the curtains and sun is streaming in. It's a jubilant atmosphere here. So, um,
And we can hear the drum from the lesson in the other portable there.
yeah, we're going to have music as well. So, before we start, I'd just like to canvass around for people who might want to say a few things. Randy's got a thought, is it a picture you want to share?
There's a picture of the Messier objects, which I want to kind of lead a discussion on.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that. David Lee has a photo, and also we'll probably have an update on the VCO a little bit as well, David. So we'll talk about that. Phil, I accosted Phil, and he said that he could say a few words. So Phil is going to join us as well. Bill Weir wants to talk about Viverie. So I don't know if he's there yet, but when he shows up, we'll give him an opportunity. Chris Gainor has got an update on Artemis, which we're all very interested in. Now, is there anyone else who's got something they would like to share?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about sunset on Saturday.
I don't see too much stuff. We might give people an opportunity to talk about the General Assembly or reflections on that as well. That might be a good place to start because I think Randy's talk, is that associated with the General Assembly?
We'll start talking about that, and then yes, I'll go on to that. That'll be a good segue.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we can put up the schedule. Okay. So I think Lauri and David should talk to this.
Lauri, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, Saturday was interesting. We had a kind of an entertaining talk by Amy Tatel. Is that how you pronounce it,
Title.
Lauri? Title.
Title.
Title, yeah. So it was kind of like the lighter side. I'm surprised Chris hasn't told more of those kind of stories, but Amy sure did. I'd seen most of the stuff that she showed, but it was an interesting talk. What did you think, Laurie?
Well, it was fun. It was a lighter side. It was not a heavy, not a heavy duty thing, but I think it brought people in. There were quite a few people online, and there were some really good questions at the end. I thought she did a terrific job of fielding questions at the end. I mean, she was probably 25 minutes,
Yeah.
with just questions at the end. So I thought she did a really good job of that. She's obviously um, a a good speaker and very good presentation. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was pretty hard to tell, her background just from the talk itself, but you're right. During the Q&A, it really showed that she was a good researcher and a journalist, right? I mean, she
Mhm.
knows her stuff.
Mhm.
Was that her background? She's a journalist?
Well, I don't know how she evolved into it. Like she said that she was always interested, in space, and then she started doing what was it, podcasts that she was doing, or she was writing for quite a large number of kind of popular kind of websites and pod things. So
Mhm. Mhm. And she's a YouTuber.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe we should get Chris's take.
yeah. What's Chris's take on it?
Me?
Yeah,
Ah,
Well, I know all those stories myself, but if you
I
want
know
to,
that's what I thought. And you
Yeah.
probably would have shown us the uncensored versions of it, right?
yeah, well, I mean, Apollo 12 is such a rich, uh, they're just so much stuff in that, and uh, uh, so yeah, that part of that film that she showed. Um, Actually, I was just looking at that film a few days ago, uh, and yeah, there's all sorts of stuff before the launch, like they have a Corvette race around the ONC building where the crews get all red, where they suit up and everything. But also there's this section, where they're making fun of Dick Gordon, who was in the command module throughout that mission. And as soon as the other guys go down to the moon, then he reaches down below the seats, and there's a woman in a bikini there. Um, so anyway, a lot of the stuff was, uh, inevitably from that period is kind of sexist. So maybe it's better that she tells some of that stuff than me.
That's a
Uh,
good point,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
so
Yes.
uh,
Well, she asked me whether or not the thing should be censored, and I said yes, because it was a public, we didn't know who would come in from the public. And so we needed to make sure that there was at least no nudity. Yes. So there we go.
yeah, well, it wasn't nudity, but I mean, it was a scantily clad, shall we say?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And um, yeah, you know, my favorite story, and this is sort of something which I've been hunting for because as far as I know, like film is involved in it, but I've never seen the film, and I'm not sure what happened to it. But this was just I'll tell you this story. Because I would just it's kind of what's the term, the golden hind or whatever you want to call it. Um, and so prior to the first launch of an American astronaut, people were pretty nervous at NASA, right? That was Alan Shepard in 1961, and they weren't even sure if they were going to hold the launch in public because the Russians had just launched Yuri Gagarin and had kept it a big secret until he was sort of safely in space. They actually did talk about it before the mission was over, but anyway, so finally the decision went up to the White House, and President Kennedy decided, no, this is one of the things we do is that we try and keep things open. But this gives you an idea of the atmosphere. So anyway, um, everybody was pretty nervous and on edge and everything else. And so the media wanted to get some idea of what was going to happen on launch day. So as this story goes, uh, and it hasn't been verified, but anyway, um, what they decided to do was to get one of the other astronauts, in this case Gordon Cooper, to suit up and go through everything they would go through in the day. Like you get suited up. Back then, they got suited up in this place called Hangar S, Hangar S, and then they would go in this huge transfer van uh, to the pad, and then you get out of the transfer van, and then go to the elevator and go up the elevator to the capsule. So that's just what he was going to do to show to the media who are filming this. And so they decided to pull a joke on the NASA PR people. So what happens is that, Cooper gets all suited up and marches out, like this is going to be a great thing, a tough astronaut heading off into space. And then the van comes over to the pad and he gets out and walks towards the elevator. And just as he approaches the elevator, he flips out. "You're not going to launch me on this, are you?" And the PR people just went nuts because this is not what they wanted to show. It was basically an astronaut chickening out. And so anyway, so far I think they've been able to suppress the film if that actually happened, but I've heard that story a few times. So anyway, yeah, there's lots of stuff, but yeah, the other thing was the Sharon Stafford playing Jingle Bells. Of course, that was the first time a musical instrument had been played in space, by the way. And this was because this was about a week before Christmas when all this happened. So anyway, lots of stories, and there's a few more. I think I've got I've got a whole book of them. As a matter. Let's see, where is this? Right here, I know. And
We'll have to have it. We'll have to have a second version,
Yes.
yeah,
A,
This is-
a Victoria version.
a Victoria version. Yeah.
this is the light stuff.
Oh, okay.
I have
Oh,
all
that's
sorts.
the right stuff. Good.
I have all sorts of books that riff off of the right stuff. I've got I got a couple of books called The Wrong Stuff, and
Yeah.
one called The Real Stuff, and all sorts of things. But anyway, yeah, it was and another thing that was good was that she got some of the she had some of the films of these things, so you could see them. I do, but I have to do some work on them so that they could be presented. So yeah, there's lots of material there. So another thing on Apollo 12 that's a big thing is and Peter might get a kick out of this, but about 30 seconds after launch, Apollo 12 was struck by lightning. And which was alluded to in that film that Amy was showing. And so you're sitting in the world's biggest, most powerful rocket under full thrust, heading to the moon, and your spacecraft has been hit by lightning. And and then all the alarms go off because the electrical system goes haywire. That's a pretty good definition of being in deep doo-doo. But there was a guy in the control room who knew which switch they had to throw to deal with the problem. And the switch is called SCE. I forget what the acronym stands for. And you had to flick it to aux for auxiliary instead of being on. And so they do that. And then, there's still, they're still, the rocket is still firing, and they have to do a lot of stuff to keep it going. And these guys start teasing each other and joshing each other, these guys were just incredible. So this is a very beloved incident. Every November 14th, I usually put a tweet up that says Happy SCE to Aux Day, because that's
Yes.
that was the anniversary. And if you're ever in Toronto and are hanging out with Randy Atwood,
Yeah.
You will see that the license plate on his van or his SUV is SCE to aux.
Yeah.
And then I have an electrical switch in my basement and it's the SCE to aux switch. So we love that. But I just howl with laughter when I hear about these guys. They start teasing each other about how they reacted to this when the rocket is still firing, It's
Vince has something to say about it.
I actually know what the acronym stands for. It's single conditioning equipment.
that's
There-
right.
There were two redundant systems, and one of the guys I used to work for, who was a NASA trench rat back when he was young, actually has one of the signaling conditioning equipment boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was from. I don't think it was from actual. That actual mission, because I think that went into the ocean, but he managed to scoop one of the spare units and had that sitting on his desk,
Wow.
along with a Apollo module, or the Apollo lander disky display.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's plenty of lore there. So thanks for sharing all of these insights. What about the next day on the GA? There's a stream A and a stream B. Anybody have
Well,
any
it started off with that plenary about the Rubin telescope. And this is a Canadian who was telling how he could study like 5 of these what do you call it, Kuiper belt objects at a time, and now they're going to be looking at thousands and thousands of them. But he gave a great talk about why it's interesting to have this new sky survey, and the main sorts of things that they can hope to get out of it. And I've seen a lot of stuff about Rubin. I'm a bit obsessed by it, and he still showed lots of new things for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that, Randy, but he took a question at the end that kind of asked about Starlink and things like that, and he said
Oh, yeah.
he said he couldn't show us certain things because it wasn't clear to do so, but he did tell us that they move pretty quick. And he says that's a saving grace because they're sampling relatively quickly. So I guess they just pass by. They throw out some, obviously, right?
Oh,
But
he was saying they're throwing out 20% or something huge.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
Randy,
he must work with Samantha Lawler. It sounds like they do very similar work.
yeah, they're in a bit of two different kinds of things, but they are. And Wes Fraser gave us this presentation back at the beginning of the year at UVic. So I don't think you were there, Randy.
No.
And so anybody that was at UVic was able to hear him. And that's when I asked him whether or not he would do it for everybody across Canada, because I thought it was a really timely thing to do. I think he did a really nice job of it. I think people really enjoyed listening to him. So that was great. So stream A,
Okay, so I did take a screenshot of this. There's Kirsten with her Explore the Universe talk.
She did a fabulous job.
yeah, it was really amazing. She did kind of a shortened version of the telescope clinic, so I got a bit of a preview. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to introduce her because we kind of ran overtime on the plenary, and we didn't have enough time to do that. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. I think she made it very accessible. There were a lot of nice compliments in the chat.
And just how quickly is she on?
No,
How
she's
she went from 0 to being such an accomplished observer.
Yes.
Is very inspiring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
then
we did have a little, go ahead,
yeah,
David.
and then we had a bit of a glitch. I mean, not. I mean, Lauri warned me that it wasn't going to necessarily be smooth sailing, but Michael had some trouble with his audio, so we had to switch out Susan, who's the third presentation. So she did her stuff on planning observations, which was good, and then Michael jumped in right after that. So
Hmm.
all good stuff. I mean, Michael's quite an accomplished astrophotographer. So he kind of walked us through a kind of an introductory astronomy through pictures. And that's how he did it. So they weren't like particularly complicated pictures. They were mostly like nightscapes and things with the moon and things like that. Conjunctions, objects like that. So there are a lot of questions. I mean, he fielded some questions about eclipses as well. So he's definitely an eclipse chaser. And yeah, that was stream A actually.
And then stream B, we also had a little bit of a glitch because Astro Sid did not show up. So,
Ouch.
so Charles had to take over just like after we kind of tried to figure out where Astro Sid was, and he didn't come. Then Charles was able to just jump in and start on his World Asterism project that he always kind of just does a little bit of an update and tells us what's going on. But unfortunately, I mean, a couple of people have mentioned online, and people may have seen it, was that neither like all that 1 to 2:30 time was a little bit messy because on stream A and on stream B because things didn't quite go as expected for the times. So people were a little bit upset because they didn't get to see the people that they wanted at the time that they wanted. And so I mean that's what happens on Zoom, right? For things, and you can't completely be in charge of absolutely everything that happens. But Dave Payne gave a really good talk on his molecular clouds, and I think Dave, people really appreciated your take, and that there were some good comments at the end about what you had presented. I mean, your pictures are just so stunning, and it
And
all
I
makes
thought it was very, very clear, and I think you made a really good case to it was looking at this star formation um and going right to the fundamentals of physics. I loved it.
Mhm. Yeah, certainly one of the more tech. I mean, obviously, as we all know, Dave, very, quite technical. I think you were in the right place in that stream B, so that because it you needed to have a little bit of background in order to be able to do that. But I think it was really good. You did a very nice job. And then in the afternoon, we had Randy Enkin. Randy, I wasn't able to get in to see your program. Tell me about how it went.
Well, it went very well. It's lovely working with Kirsten.
Yeah.
She's uh she kind of bookended the talk, and I put the stuff in the middle. And the important thing is that there's a very favorable lunar eclipse across North America, better in the east than in the west, because the eclipse will rise in eclipse here. So we'll see what's called the egress, the sun taking back over the moon, but we're not going to see the shadow going into the moon on this side. But it is, I mean, the next one in 2029, in the summer of 2029, is the next one that is good across North America, but it's even worse for us. So, these don't happen very often, that we get a nice summer eclipse, especially one in the evening. Anyway, the goal, Kirsten thinks a reasonable goal is that we're going to try to get half of the RASC centers reporting observations. We want to get 15 of the 30. And so, as well as the science of it and the practicality of making these measurements. We now have a big communications issue, and people were giving good ideas about, well, we really have to do it now because a lot of the centers are going to go on a summer hiatus like we do here. And we do have to catch all the star parties, but we have to really get the word out to do these very interesting observations. And I asked a question, and I'm kind of curious with our group. If you don't have something to do during the time that the shadow is building up to totality, what do you do during an eclipse? I think this is a great way to pass the time, is to actually have your telescope out and try to time when the shadow hits different places. But what do people do otherwise?
Watch.
He puts up his hand.
No,
Do you have an answer, David? Dave?
No, I just wanted to make a comment at the end.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sorry.
it went very well, but I put in a natural break for where I could stop. And of course, we used up all our time. So I'm going to show the rest of the talk tonight, but that'll be after we go through the rest of this.
Okay. Okay,
When
did
I-
anybody go to the laser pointer training?
I did. Alex?
Alex? Yeah,
I did,
thanks, Bill.
but then just
Because I
at the
did it
point-
last year, so.
Yeah, well, just at the point when they were starting the exam, I finally found my card, which I actually have in my laser pointer box, which is probably the best place to have it. And then I realized I didn't need to do the exam, so then I logged out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we expire next year, Bill.
Yeah, 27. So I'll
Yeah.
catch it next year.
So on
Now
the other side, Russell Fralich from Montreal gave a very nice talk that came after Michael Watson's, who had kind of talked about taking a lot of equipment with him when he goes traveling, and Russell was doing it kind of the opposite way: is what's the smallest and the best stuff that you can take that doesn't take up very much space and that you can take anywhere you can go. So that was, and he was kind of taking pictures with his iPhone or just with a simple camera. He didn't have really fancy equipment or anything, and I think he did a really nice job. I mean, it was just
No, it was
it was a really good presentation.
yeah,
So
it was an excellent presentation, and in fact, when we get into the VCO segment, I'll show you something that was inspired by his talk.
Yeah. And then Samantha Lawler gave her presentation that she gave us before, back in at right here, actually at Astro Cafe. So anybody that was in that, she gave that again. And I must admit that when I was listening to her again, I got more out of it the second time because she was a pretty quick speaker, and I know that I didn't get everything that she had said the first time. So that was really good to be able to hear her again, and she certainly points out the problems with everything that's going on in space for sure. And then Darren, is Darren on the call here tonight?
No.
No, okay. So Darren gave his presentation of the DAO night simulator. He's done that for us as well. I think he gave a presentation earlier on as well to kind of talk about his virtual reality that he is building with the DAO. And he gave a presentation at the end as well. So it was good. Over at the other side, Kirsten had the Education and Public Outreach Committee, and I think there were I think there were about maybe 30 people in the call. And there was some, when I kind of just jumped in for just a few minutes, there certainly were some good suggestions and people were kind of having a good discussion. So Kirsten is going to make up a list of things that came out of that town hall so that we've got something to work on. So I'll talk about that another time when we have all that. So there were some glitches, absolutely. But when you think about 3 brand new people in the office, Sandia just kind of coming in just a couple of days before and everything, it's quite amazing that we got too much accomplished in that amount of time. So we really missed Jenna, I must admit. That's right. However, we'll work away and we'll kind of come up with something for next year.
They were all recorded, weren't they?
They're certainly the big ones were. I'm not sure that absolutely everything got recorded. If it is, it would have been done at the through the national. Yeah. So
Yeah, so if there were recordings, they'll be put up later, like
yeah,
they have in
yeah.
the
Somebody
past.
has to do that. I'm not sure who's doing that at there. We'll figure it out.
I've
Bill, yeah.
already seen Amy's thing on
Amy's went up like within half an hour after she finished.
Oh, excellent.
That's all up. But the
Okay.
others will take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So
I just took a screenshot of Dave's talk also.
Yeah.
I didn't get mine or Darren's. I just wanted you to see that.
So before Randy segues in, I don't think these things are spontaneous. I think that they require a lot of organization, and I understand that Lauri made a heroic effort to make all of this happen. And thanks so much, Lauri, for your efforts on making
Thank
it.
you.
we have work to do, but we've pulled it off. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Thanks, Megan.
Okay, I'm
I think
Go ahead.
David wanted to say something at the end.
oh, I will
Yeah.
shut up.
If I could, can I share for just a second?
Yep, I'm off.
So Charles Ennis's talk on the asterisms really had an effect on me, and they were in my dreams
Oh, good.
last night. So I do want to show one that I think you get a kick out of, that I just can't get out of my head. And I think am I sharing now?
It's
Yes.
coming.
Oh, wow.
The left is a spaghetti nebula, and it's just so uncanny.
Wow.
That is kind of freaky.
Mm.
So that's
So
it.
what are the chances of that happening?
Where is? I'm gonna take a picture of that one.
Where is it, Dave? In what? Do you know where it is in the sky?
Oh, I think it's this one's someone's Instagram, but it's in it's not the spaghetti nebula, but it's a supernova remnant around there somewhere. The
Okay.
Great Vega Nebula or something. Let me the
I'm gonna go off the one next.
Yep. You better.
Vela supernova remnant, wherever that is.
We can't see that from here. It's in Bela.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's huge.
Yes. But this is just a portion of it.
Oh, neat.
But just go look at a picture of it and look for Homer Simpson. And then you got the right one.
When you're in Hawaii, if it's spring, you'd be able to see it.
Oh, okay.
You can see it from Mexico, from like the Puerto Vallarta latitude.
Perfect. I'll have to try and image it when I'm there.
So March, it's coming up.
Oh,
That's a little late.
that's a little late.
Bill, you are amazing.
I've seen it.
I have something to add to the topic of various constellations or asterisms. Let's see. So I as many boomer children, I grew up reading Mad Magazine.
Awesome. Guilty too.
And I I've forgotten whether I've asked Charles whether he has all these, but so anyway, yes, of course, you have a Mantle, a Slugger instead of Orion, and then the Pegasus is of course a what is it? It's a symbol for a chain of gas stations in the States, and Smokey the Bear, Elsie the Cow, you know, Wyatt the Earp, you know. Anyway,
Alfred.
Of course.
that's right. So yes, I was also struck by Homer Simpson, but um, there are precedents.
Wow.
I think I'm concerned. I think that we're getting off on we have to get back on a more serious topic here.
I don't know if I can promise that, but
Let's go back to the curriculum, Randy.
okay. So, I'm going to show off the slides that did get shown because, there's only a few of our people there. I've talked about this a lot and I'm going to keep talking about it, obviously. But the goal is why did that get dull? That's strange. Anyway, the goal is to talk about crater timing. This, in fact, was the third time at the GA that I talked about this subject. And it's because it's important, especially in the history of astronomy, for navigation. And it's a hot topic these days because we're using the sunlight going through the Earth's atmosphere and bouncing off the moon as a analog for looking at exoplanet atmospheres. Anyway, so August 27th is our next chance, and it gets dull. Does it do it to you there? Anyway, this is Joe's picture of the really spectacular eclipse. I remember that in 2019, and looking at the shadow going across the Tycho in this case, and comparing it to what it's like on down here on Earth, where instead of the sun being 400,000 kilometers away, it's only 170. But I want you to remember this when I get to the part that I am going to talk about today. And then it's a 300-year-old problem. There's lots of analysis of it. Looks like the Earth is about 90 kilometers too big. This is looking at all of the observations that Roger Sinnett of Sky Telescope showed off. And I wrote Roger Sinnett and said, hey, when are you going to publish the times for this upcoming eclipse? And he says, oh, I haven't done it yet. So he went and did it, wrote back immediately, apologized that the program isn't working. And I was thinking, oi, oi, oi. But a couple of days later, he produced this table for us, and I transferred the times onto the moon, and I'm talking a bit about the different types of things that you can see during the full moon. And then we did an experiment online. I put on this YouTube of the eclipse going past Plato. Here's a picture of Kevin and me. Oh, Kevin's gone. That's right. He was here and he set up, but he left. Anyway, he came to my house in 2025 and we made some observations. And they got submitted. And this is the web form that there's a web form that Kirsten has set up for people to put in their data. And that was the end of the talk, because I didn't have time to go on to this part. So this is a picture Saturday morning. I was trying to figure something out. So the plate is the sun, and my coffee cup is the earth, and my right finger is the moon. And Eva took a picture of it. So we're going into, what is the thing? Is the earth too big? Is the sun too small? Or is it how we perceive the transition from light to dark? And then Saturday night, I had this idea that it's very hard to get a good picture of just when the sun is coming up at sunrise, because you don't know when it's going to happen. Whereas if you do it at sunset, then you can be very accurate with it. So I told Eva that we have to go up Mount Tommy Saturday night because it's going to be a beautiful clear sky. And we had a picnic and we had a great time up there. Oh yeah, this is what it looks like from the moon. Now, interestingly, there is a fifth time that we have cameras from the moon looking at the eclipse towards the sun. What's the fifth one? It's the Artemis. They just saw it.
Oh, right.
So I should get some photos of that to add to this slide. It's problem of the atmosphere. That's okay. So this was Saturday night. You can see it was just beautiful. With there's the observatory up there. Anyway, so I underexposed a lot, I think by 5 stops. And let's just go through this sequence. This is at 8:09. Okay, now by the time the sun starts to get eclipsed by the Earth, that is when you would say it is the beginning of the penumbra. And as you can imagine, the beginning of the penumbra is a really boring affair because you're just losing a few percent of light. Nobody can actually see that. But as we go on, 2019, 2020, it's going down, and here we are, 2031, 36. Now I'm going second by second in these photos. 1, 42, and it's gone. Okay, so officially, you would say that we have transitioned from penumbra to umbra. Let's just go back a bit. Okay, so there's still some of the sun's photosphere sneaking past the shadow maker. In this case, what is that? The Stooke Hills. And then it disappears.
Yeah, that's northwest, so it's further, that kind of way behind the Malahat.
Oh, it might be behind the Malahat. Yeah. I should figure that out. That would be good to know how far away it is, but it doesn't matter. It's not nearly as far as Glacier Mountain, which I do know Glacier Peak is 170 kilometers away. Okay, so one of the things we asked Roger Sinnott for was the observations at this 2014 eclipse, because his paper only went up to 2011. So what the publicly available database predates this particular paper, which has this beautiful diagram of eclipse. This is on a log scale, and you can see as the you approach penumbra, then it goes up very fast. And sure enough, the 3 observations that were submitted are spot on this very steep rise. So that makes me feel it's not a human perception problem. They got it right. So let's take a look at this. This is that 43 seconds. This is when I think we're fully in umbra on Mount Ptolemy, looking towards the mountains, and behind that, half of the atmosphere that the light would go through going to the moon, because the light has to come from space into the Earth's atmosphere and then out again towards the sun. So there's twice as much as what I'm seeing here. And so we're going to go back in time. Here's 30 seconds. Here's 60. Here's 90. So that is kind of, if I understand the geometry right, then what it's saying is all of this light that I'm seeing on the surface of the Earth is not making it to the moon. And that blows me away. I just don't understand it. I thought it was just going to be a tiny little bit of the moon in 90 seconds. But of course, everybody who's ever watched sunset knows that it goes down really fast. You can watch it and you can see it go down. And everybody should do this. Everybody should look at it because it is one of the wonderful things. I remember as a kid thinking how this was where you really see the Earth rotating. It's a wonderful experience. And so you know, go to Mount Ptolemy or any other place where you can see a nice sunset on a clear night, and you can see that. I think that's where
I
I'm
was just gonna say, Randy, if you're closer to the equator, it's even faster, isn't it? Because the sun is just whistling towards
yes.
the horizon rather than coming down on an angle, because
Yeah.
you're so far north here that it's not, it's
So
coming
it's,
down.
it's coming on an angle. Yeah.
We
Where
saw
it's-
that from Honolulu Harbor, and it
Yeah.
goes down quite.
Yeah, well, I remember being, the first time I noticed it was being on a ride at Disneyland. And we went on the ride, and when we came out, it was dark, and I was thinking, wait a second,
What's going on
what
here?
happened here?
Okay, so Chris, you've just made me realize that this is trickier. 90 seconds here does not mean the same thing everywhere.
No,
And they do use that in the calculation when they calculate that NEL, the something eclipse forming layer. What is it? I don't know what the N is, but that's included in the calculation. Okay,
Randy, if you
go Dave.
if you can get the raw images out of your camera, or if you it should be a change setting on your camera
Yeah,
that you want to see the raw, then the camera won't do any processing of the images, because you see how the sky gets brighter when the sun sets, and that's the camera. If you look away from the sun, how the sky gets.
yeah, that's not being raw or JPEG. That is that I allowed, I had it in aperture control and I set it 5 f-stops darker. I could have gone into manual and
No, it's not how you take the picture.
Oh
It's-
yeah.
It's after the camera takes the picture, it wants to show you it with some sort of average brightness.
Yeah.
And so you've got the sun glowing at you, and it kind of averaging that with the sky, and that makes the sky artificial dark. But after the sun actually sets, you'll see the sky looks brighter all of a sudden.
so if you go forward again,
If you go forward again, see how the
all of a
sky.
sudden you get all this light coming up, right? Keep going.
Oh, well, no, I'd have to go back to
All right.
these pictures.
Yeah.
Now
Even
going
that's
backwards.
good enough. You see how the sky gets brighter when the sun sets?
Because there's still light scattering.
Yeah.
Right?
So-
Upwards, all of a sudden the camera can see that. Right.
So if you say to the camera, I want to look at it raw,
Yeah.
then you can actually measure the brightness of the sky and create your own graph from your images.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, I'm not. I was gonna say, I don't process my images like that, but I'm gonna say, I don't process my images like that yet.
Well, I'm happy to show you how to do it. It's very easy to do. You just have to you just set your camera to give you, no, it'll give you these images too, but it'll also record on your disk or your little
Yeah.
hard thing. It'll also record the raw files too.
Yeah. I should do that. Okay. Um,
Randy, what about refraction?
yeah, that goes the wrong direction. And in fact, these pictures of the sun, if there were no atmosphere, the sun would already have set.
Yeah.
It's about half a degree looking horizontally, and that's the wrong direction to solve the problem. And this is part of the thing. Look, it's a problem that's been around for 300 years. I don't think my doing some silly little experiments are going to be the solution to it. But
Yeah.
My answer to all mysteries is it's relativity. Somehow relativistic effects are kind of.
and I'm keen to keep studying this, but one of the cool things is the eclipses that have many observations. You can do very good statistics on, and it's not like doing it with a camera is going to do a better job. There's a very good YouTube that just came out. I don't know if it just came out. I just saw it recently. A guy had two cameras pointing at the eclipse, and he did a high dynamic range movie by combining a overexposed and an underexposed picture over the whole time. It was very difficult and it's very unsatisfying. It was just, you couldn't actually see what the eye sees. Our eyes are amazing. And I don't know whether it's the eye or it's the brain that processes it, but even with doing this bracketing thing with two cameras, and he seemed to be doing a good job of it, you miss seeing the umbra going across these features. It was just kind of gray and no definition there. So I mean, the way really to do it is to choose one point on the moon and have a photometer on it, like that graph that I showed. But that takes research grade and equipment. I think I'm going to stop sharing there.
Well, thank you very much, Randy, for that. Beautiful pictures. I really enjoyed seeing them. Next on the list is David Lee. You took a photo as well that was inspired by the GA.
Yeah, I thought I would start with a few things before I go there, because there was another VCO session. There's been actually a series of VCO sessions since we've last talked about those things, and I think, as probably people recall, we had some problems with our filter wheel. So we have since, and I'll let Vince and Reg talk about this a little bit later, but we have since purchased some different equipment to allow us to use those filters. So on that same night when that was done, I just wanted to say I've actually started attaching the photometer to the Takahashi now, and with Vince's help, I was able to get some readings from the photometer. Right, it took a little bit of effort because it's very difficult to center since the SkyX is really designed to center for the OGS as opposed to the TAC. So there's this offset, which I hope to correct, actually. I think I'm going to probably attach another scope to the rig to allow us to plate solve to the center of the TAC. So that will make it much easier rather than us fiddling with the joystick to get it in place. But I just want to let people know that's happening. And I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks that we can actually get some photometer readings, and then I can show you what I've been planning to do with it. So anyways, let's go to Russell's talk and then what I did the other night. We got together the other night as well. Sandy and Wyman had joined us. They were kind of looking at the sky with binoculars. And at the same time, I was doing this. So I don't know if people recall Russell's talk for the people that saw it. He basically said that he wasn't really that interested in uh, carrying around a lot of expensive equipment, and for a number of reasons. His talk was focused on travel photography, and I'm just about to leave to go abroad as well, and I just thought to myself, well, do I really need to take all my heavier gear? Or can I get away with something lighter? So what I did on the other night was I took my inexpensive Z30. I don't know how many people know what the Nikon Z30 is, but it's kind of almost like a point and shoot, but it has interchangeable lenses, and it's not remarkably expensive. Like you can get the whole thing for less than, well, either less or close to $1,000, which in Nikon terms is ridiculously cheap, actually, compared to any of the other bodies. So, anyways, I took the Z30 out with me and with the kit lens, and the kit lens isn't particularly fast either. And there is a mistake here. I said it's a 3.5 to 5.6, but it's even worse than that. It's a 6.3 actually at the 50 end. But anyways, I'm using 16 millimeters here, and um, you could see that in Russell's talk, he was taking advantage of the fact that he was using wide angle lenses, which allow you to actually take pictures without tracking. So that's the other thing he was doing. He was not even bothering to take a tracker with him. So he was just using a tripod and taking advantage of the high speeds of the cameras that exist today. And so this is what I did while Sandy and Wyman were looking up at the sky. I took a picture in the westerly view, western horizon at the VCO, and you can actually see Venus here. You can see Jupiter and of course Castor and Pollux up at the top. And this is Auriga, and that's Capella. And I noticed later that's actually Aldebaran. Actually, I didn't realize that. I looked at it closer later, and that's actually Aldebaran, and then and a lot of obligatory satellites and stuff. But anyways, I was quite happy with this. I mean, this is 2.5 seconds at, in theory, the worst possible aperture. So this is 16 millimeters wide open at 3.5. And I've cropped a little bit on the sides, but it's pretty well the way it is actually at ISO 1600. Now I in future probably will drop this down to maybe 800 to get even a finer gradation and then increase the exposure. I could easily go to 5 without any problems, and the stars would not trail. So yeah, no, I was quite happy with that. And so you can do this. I mean, this is a very simple camera. So I kind of really encourage people to do this, if not for um, also keeping a record of constellations as well. I really like looking at these things after the fact, and I'll often notice, globular clusters and in different configurations and stuff. So yeah, so that's my
David,
yes,
the top right,
yep,
there's a little streak there.
yep.
Yes.
Is that a meteor?
No, it's probably Elon.
I think it's a satellite. I think it's a satellite.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is. And this, I looked at this later and I thought, what is that? I zoomed in and it's actually a plane.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's a plane. So anyways, you can do this kind of fun stuff after the fact. So and this is only one frame. Now I did take a whole bunch and then stack them, but it just made the landscape, awkward to look at, and I didn't have time to mask. But I can actually get rid of most of this just by stacking. And I think Russell was saying that's what he was doing when he does this type of photography. He'll take like maybe 50 to 100 frames, and then he'll stack them. And you can certainly get rid of this grain by doing that. But you can also see you can just do it in a single frame as well. So I'm going to pass this over to Reg and Vince because Lauri had a question. Lauri.
Yes, I was going to say, if people are interested, I'm sure Russell would give his presentation to us on an Astro Cafe.
Oh
one
yeah,
night.
that'd be wonderful.
Like it might be 10 o'clock in Montreal, but I'm sure that as an astrophotographer, he might be up for a little bit. So we can ask him if people are interested in having him. Maybe in the fall he could come.
And also, I would really encourage people to come up to the VCO sessions as well. I mean, I've transferred some of the equipment from Sid's garage to the VCO now, so we actually have a good tripod, a really good tripod, in the shed part of the VCO. So anybody, and I'll likely bring one of my older trackers. So if anybody just wants to try either just stationary tripod shots like I showed you, with really short exposures, or you can try a little tracker and that would let you expose for even a little bit longer. So I really invite everybody to do that. Just bring your camera and we'll make it work. So Reg and Vince, do you want to talk about the new filter drawer?
Okay, can I just step in here a bit? I'm gonna try and.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be JT or silent Bob. Other way around. I'll be silent Bob.
You're gonna be silent?
Yeah, I'm gonna be silent.
I doubt that. Let's see here. You could chime in at any time. I just want to show something. This is the optical train that we had up there, and this looks a little bit daunting, but this is how we connected the back of the 12.5-inch telescope to the big camera that's cooled, and there's a very powerful camera here. A lot of intermediate parts were here, and the problematic thing we had was a filter wheel, which was this device here. Last October it was working fine. Then we had 3 months of cloud, and when we went back up to the hill in early January for our first star party of our session of the year, it was not working properly, and so I was devastated, of course. And but at any rate, through heroic efforts, David Lee scoured and reloaded software and tried to get all our drivers right and stuff like that. And we really don't know if it's a software problem or a mechanical problem. But we had wasted, well, not wasted, we had invested 4 months trying to solve this problem, and we had all these lovely filters to use. So we acquired a filter drawer that allows you to manually insert each filter in on its own. And the thing I was worried about was that there's a very critical distance here between the end of a thing called a field flattener and the back edge of the filter wheel, and it's 90 millimeters. So we put in this filter drawer, and I didn't really know what it would be like. So I dashed up to the hill last night. It was our 9th VCO session of the year. And I made this actual measurement, expecting it to be out, and I'd have to swap out all sorts of spacers in that. Instead of 90 millimeters, it was 89.5 millimeters. So I was within a half an inch. So I was absolutely jubilant overnight. And I was just absolutely thrilled that this worked out so well. And so then Vince is a kind of a master at the program SharpCap, and he took that loose, turned that loose, and we spent a lot of time looking at M81, and he was stacking beautiful images of that.
We had that momentary heart attack though.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we should.
Share the disasters? Yeah.
Well, we had an uninvited guest on some of the images. That was a big black spot in the middle of it. And after Vince performed CPR on me, we reloaded it again, and I don't know what it was. Maybe the filter in the filter drawer just jiggled a little bit, but there was some sort of weird thing that I don't quite understand, but it is gone. So I was really happy about that. At any rate, and then after the other guys left, I was up to the hill, I guess until about 1:30 in the morning, imaging a thing called 5907, NGC 5907. And it's a beautiful spindle type galaxy. And on April 22nd, a supernova popped off in that, and you could very clearly see it on that. And so I hope to have a color image of that entity, the first color image since filter wheel went down. Yeah, I wanted to have it done today, but I ended up spending 3 hours talking to Telus about problems instead, so that didn't work. At any rate, I just wanted to say, if you saw David's beautiful picture, it's a lovely place just to go and hang out and in these turbulent times, enjoy a lovely evening up there. And I was really pleased that Wyman and Sandy joined us, and they're working on Explore the Universe. It's a really fun thing. So if we put out an announcement and you're on the active observers list, please, we'd love to if you could join us, and we'll party on up there. Now, did you have anything to say, Vince?
I just momentarily, a few moments ago, had a small panic attack because I remembered I didn't turn off the red switch for the observatory, but then I realized I wasn't the one that actually left it. So I hope you turned off the red switch.
Well, I turned off the red switch, but I forgot to shut the roof. So that's
You're joking.
yeah, I think so.
Holy.
At any rate, so
Well, as snow is in the forecast for tomorrow, that could be bad news, right?
Yeah. So that was the VCO thing. Now,
Dave has a question.
Dave, go ahead.
Hi, Reg. I have that same filter wheel, so offline maybe we could have a chat.
Yeah, we would be very interested in your reflections on it. Because
Yeah, so Dave, I'm gonna run the wheel on a bare machine first and step it through just to make sure it isn't anything like that, and then after that, we're game for any possibilities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try it with the filters out to make sure it's not a clearance problem.
I'm pretty sure it's not, but I think the software is still eluding me. I can't get a bare metal kind of a thing on it, so I want to start from a machine that is just had nothing on it, right?
Yeah.
And then put the stuff in. And if it still doesn't work after that, then it's something else.
But it is finicky. But we'll take it offline.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
thanks
wanted
for
to-
your offer, Dave. We're gonna pounce on you about that.
Okay.
The other thing was that the filter wheel actually ran well for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when we bought it, we caught it on a sale, and the filter wheel, if you worked it out, was actually free when we got this thing. So that it's not as painful as you would think. So after we're moving on from that. Bill, you had some things you wanted to talk or announce.
I just wanted to say one thing, Reg.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be imaging the coma cluster?
Wait, I have.
Dave, I did prompt him last night.
Okay. I'm just joking.
We were in
No worries.
Bill?
Okay, me. So I am back looking for volunteers. After so I've gotten who I need or enough people for going to the Bamfield Away Dark Sky Festival, which those who haven't taken me up on it will probably regret when we tell you how nice it was, because it's looking to be pretty good. At the end of the month, on May 30th, I believe it is, there's the scouting event out at Camp Bernard, the Beavery, which I'm looking for a few people to come and help out. It's really a low stress kind of activity. They're young scouting kids. They're like in the 5 to 8 year range, and then there's always their parents there. There's like a 2-to-1 ratio, so you're never stuck with a bunch of maniacs. And it's really I'll be bringing a bunch of solar gear if you have your own. we're just meeting people and talking and showing them stuff through telescopes, what there is in the sky. And it's, a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of hours in the afternoon, bring your own lunch and hang out. And I think it's a good opportunity to show parents that we exist out there, because they're busy, but a lot of us, we couldn't do it when people were younger, and we could do it when we were older. So I still believe, even if we don't grab anybody at that moment, it makes it so people think about it later to keep this society going. Because, and the kids, some kids are like, I remember my first view through a telescope and waited until I was an adult and had some money, and then could buy one and then look for a club to show them how to do stuff. And it's fun. You used to have to like beat people off to try and get people to go to it. Now it's the opposite. So yeah, I know it's always you, Lauri. It's always Lauri.
I'll join you.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's really like not a lot of pressure. And Randy, your question of what do people do during an eclipse other than timing when a shadow? So for me, I live in a forest, so eclipses don't happen where I live. I go to the beach, and usually like a huge portion of the population of Machosin shows up there. And I drag a couple of scopes to the end of the road that overlooks the beach, and it's a party. And so really there's no time for timing craters. It's like, it's just a lot of fun. I put about 3 or 4 telescopes out and let kids just have free rein on some of them. Sometimes it's pointed. My favorite photo is of a little girl who I looked over and she had the scope pointed straight up at the sky, because that was bringing it down to her eye level. And she was having a great time. So I'm still waiting to run into her one day, because that was probably about 15 years ago. And so I'm still waiting for somebody to come, I came here once and I saw this, and it's like, you're the girl in the photograph. It'll happen. So if you're interested, let me know. And to the people on this line, I know they're there. I'll be sending out an email tonight about information about going to Banfield, because I got all the final stuff today about sort of what we need to do. Really, it's phoning one person when you get there. We've got rooms at the hotel. I don't know if they're feeding us on Friday night. I'm sure there'll be food on Saturday at the concert and the barbecue, because there's a concert and a barbecue at the beach in Pechina Bay on Saturday. It's going to be a blast. And then we do a couple of hours of nighttime after a couple of hours of solar. So it's going to be fun.
Guaranteed
I think
clear skies. Guaranteed clear skies.
I think it will be. And it really doesn't matter. It's going to be a great cultural event. Oh, and on last week, I went out to the Llewellyn School out in Brentwood Bay, the First Nations school. I shot some great video of Stewitt, the main teacher there, the science teacher, of him explaining a bunch of things on the night sky, and half of it in Sincotan, so I have no idea what he was saying half the time. But we had these posters and his hands moving around, pointing at things and explaining stuff. So that was a lot of fun. And then at some point I'll get him his telescopes. So
Thanks,
that's all.
Bill, did you have a few words to say?
Yes, I did. Okay. I wasn't planning to say anything tonight, but Reg twisted my arm, and he has quite a grip. So I said, okay. So at the beginning of the year, I did a presentation looking at all the things that were going to come up during the year. And so far, only one of them has happened. That was Artemis 2. But a lot of the other things were kind of loaded into the second half of the year, really. So the fall will be quite a busy time after the meetings resume after the summer. But I just wanted to look ahead to a few of the lunar missions that are coming up. There are also some asteroid flybys and things like that coming up. later in the year. But the lunar missions, the one that is most interesting to me, and I think will be a very dramatic mission if everything goes well, is the Chinese mission, China 7. The spacecraft is already at the launch pad. It's due to launch in August, and it will land, a couple of weeks or so after the launch. And they're landing at a place very close to the South Pole, where for the first time they'll be landing in a place that actually has more than a month of continuous sunlight. People have often talked about how a mountain peak at the South Pole might project up high enough that it would receive sunlight for an entire lunar day. And there are a few places that do have that happen at certain times of year, just depending on the exact orientation of the moon. And they're going to one of these places, and they expect to operate for about 160 days, 5 months or so, continuous operation. This is the first time that we've had a mission like that, and it's going to be very interesting. And this mission comes with an orbiter, which will be doing imaging of the lunar surface, and then the lander, which has a seismometer and cameras, a camera to view the landing and then to make a panoramic image of the surroundings. And then it will release a rover, which has ground-penetrating radar and cameras and a magnetometer and various other instruments. And also a hopping vehicle, which will use small thrusters to hop across the surface. And the intention is to hop into an area of permanent shadow. That will be the first time this has been done as well. And to analyze ice and any other volatiles that they find. There's all sorts of things that they'll be looking for: ammonia, methane, carbon dioxide, as well as water, obviously. So we'll see what kinds of things they actually find in there. So that's going to be quite a mission, and it will go on for several months, and should be a very high-profile thing happening during the fall. There are supposedly 4 American missions in the CLIPS program, the Commercial Lunar Payload Services program. 4 of them coming up over the remainder of this year, but a couple of them are probably going to push into early next year. Those that will push into early next year would be an intuitive machines mission to the Reiner Gamma magnetic anomaly and bright swirl, and with a rover that will drive through the magnetic anomaly, and then a radio astronomy experiment on a Firefly lander that will go to the far side of the moon. So they'll probably just push into the early next year. But the 2 remaining ones that ought to happen this year, sometime in the second half of the year, probably. We never get very much advance notice of the exact launch date with these things, so they tend to push back and back and back. But one of them is the company Astrobotic from Pittsburgh, flying a large lander called Griffin, which will land about 85 degrees south, and release 2 rovers that will operate on the surface, one of them controlled by Canadian software. So there'll be something to watch when it happens. And the final one would be the Blue Moon Mark I Pathfinder test flight, basically, of a cargo lander that Blue Moon is building. It was due to go sometime in the middle of the year without any very specific date, but Blue Origin just had a problem with the upper stage of its most recent New Glenn launch. And depending on how easy that is to fix, there could be something of a delay with that flight. So it's hard to say whether it will really happen in the fall or not. There's always a lot of uncertainty about these things. So I'll leave it there. That's just I just wanted to say a few things about what is still hopefully coming up. And well, when those things are happening, I'll say something about them as events occur.
Well, thanks so much there, Phil. I'm absolutely stoked. We've got all sorts of exciting things that are coming up, so that'll be wonderful. Need something to look forward to. Speaking of moon and things like that, Chris, did you have any comments or new insights?
Yes. I've got a couple of things here. This isn't the main thing, but I was also at at another talk last week about the Rubin telescope, and in the States, and the Dr. Greenstreet, who was giving the talk, was actually they work on sort of objects in the solar system. And I'm just going to show a couple of slides from this, which will complement the talk we got at the GA. They are doing, what Rubin is supposed to be doing is this survey over the next 10 years or so. And they expect to find an incredible amount of new objects in our solar system. And this slide here talks about what they are projecting that they are going to find, and already with the preliminary observations, they have started on this path. But yeah, the LLST. This is the survey that Rubin is going to be conducting, and so that's kind of mind-boggling. All these, 3,000 or 4,000 new main belt asteroids, and all these other things. It's going to be, 10,000 comets. It's going to be really something. So anyway, that was. But the main thing I wanted to show was this. Just let me pull it up here, which is it relates to Artemis. And okay, just a second. And this is just okay. So this was brought to my attention last night, that NASA yesterday had dropped thousands of photos from Artemis, and this is all. This isn't one of them, but just a minute, I will start. This is the website, and I'm gonna drop the URL into the chat. So this is all really raw stuff. Some of them are just black, and some of them are overexposed, some of them are underexposed. And I was thinking that what I should say when I brought this up is that I'm going to deny Randy any sleep for the next because a lot of them are of the moon. And so I just picked out a few at random that I thought were interesting. Now, a lot of them are similar to some of the photos that were put out, you know, at the time of the flight. But there's just all sorts of stuff here. Lots of pictures of the Earth, which I haven't put here. Scads of pictures of the moon. So, and this isn't the end of it, you know, that there's still more photos that have yet to be released. So this is kind of another benefit of Artemis going up, being a crew with digital equipment, you know. When I was giving my talk on Artemis at Astronomy Day, I was talking about, well, it's great, you know, these digital cameras are so much more sensitive than the old cameras that they had in Apollo. But you'll see all sorts of variations on some of the pictures you've already seen. But for the moon, lots more stuff to look at. So Randy, you've been warned. But here's so I've just picked out just kind of a dozen pictures. I made a very quick flip through the 12,000. This is kind of an interesting one. They were playing around with pictures through the windows, of course, and you can see the moon, the Earth, and one of the astronauts' hands in the bottom there. Lots of photos like this. One thing that interested me, and I'm going to show a couple more like this, is these trails of craters here that you see here. Here's another one, kind of an interesting angle of the Earth and the moon. I think as they were approaching the moon, and you can see they're kind of in different phases. This is another close-up, and again you see those strings of craters that I mentioned a minute ago, and also in this one here. You know, another photo of the Oriental Basin, and also looking into the ocean of storms, you know, some of the near side things. Just lots of stuff. And even if you go through all these, the party isn't over yet. So these are just a few that I picked out. Lots from the eclipse. You can see Saturn over here. I wonder if this is one of the Magellanic Clouds. I'm not sure. But anyway, and this is actually one of the ones that was put out during the flight. Just winding it up, and so yes, still more from Artemis.
Randy, are you drooling?
Oh, yes.
So
and we see a few of those. They're called catena, the chains of craters, but I've not seen anything on the near side that looks anything like that. What do you say, Phil?
Well, on a smaller scale.
On a smaller scale, but
the only big one on the near side is Vallis Rita.
Right.
Rita Valley, which is radial to the Nectaris Basin, but it's much older than those, and so it's more eroded.
And is it because whatever impacted to make the Oriental was going towards the backside, and so that's why the ejecta went that direction?
I don't know if we really know that, and there are valleys extending south of the basin as well, which are really chains of overlapping craters. Valles Bouvard and Valles Ingarami, which, yeah, like I say, they're chains of overlapping craters, but they're essentially the same structure.
It is really difficult when you get to know half of the moon and you realize the other half is so different.
Yeah,
Somebody only looked down on the Earth over Hawaii and had no idea that there was all this continent on the other side of the Earth. It would be like really shocking.
Well, thanks very much for that, Chris.
so yeah, I mean, that's really neat. Like from a follow flight, you'd be lucky if you got like 1,000 images, right? And then with these digital cameras, you know, they can just go crazy. So anyway, if you want to check this out, I put the URL on the chat, and yeah, it would be neat to see kind of a bit more scientific version of what I've just done, you know, by somebody like Randy or Phil. Because I just had a little time this morning, and I sort of whipped up this little show, and then we should have some more going forward.
Chris, the link is saying that there's a query error.
Oh, is it that
Parameters are missing or something like that. So
damn these things. I just hate it.
Anyway, I mean, you can kind of work on maybe you can find it something else, but that one is not working.
Just a minute. Yeah, I'm going to try again.
Oh, it worked for Peter.
Okay, I don't know. Well, it's anyway, it's still sitting on my computer. I had another one, a different one, and yeah, and it was not working. But anyway, there is that site out there, and anyway. Yeah, now I've done it, and it's doing this to me too. So anyway,
Well, at any rate, thanks for sharing that, Chris, and thanks for keeping us honest there, Lauri. And we fact check in real time here, so it's pretty tricky. Before we go towards announcements and that, I just wanted to share the screen if I can.
oh, just a minute. I'll take just give me
Sorry.
a second. Sorry.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Okay. Just a minute. Where is this? Okay. Okay, just am I off yet, or there we
No,
go?
you just went back on, but now you're off.
Okay. Well, I hope you can resolve the link, but thanks for that. I'm going to try to share. And what I want to look at is here. This is for Dave Payne. Dave still here?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. This is the coma cluster. Just 19 minutes of data with I just slapped a old Canon T3i on the Takahashi, and we took this, and I didn't really take a close look at this thing beforehand, but if you zoom in there, there's a couple of things. It's full. It looks like a pile of paper plates flying around, or saucers. There's all of these galaxies on edge. They're just delightful to look at. And then when you get at some of these things, this the item here that I'm showing, I don't know if you can see it, but it's if we zoom in on it, it's a gorgeous spiral galaxy. It's 400 million light years away.
Yeah.
Just fabulous stuff. And a lot of these things are moving at around 2/10 the speed of light away from us. It's a really interesting part of the sky. So it was a great suggestion. I think it was Brock who suggested we go to the Coma cluster. A lot of fun at any rate. So
Are they all gravitationally together? Are they one system?
No.
They are. The weird thing is that they're moving faster than their visible matter would allow them to stay together. They should, like, for the speed that they're going, they should fly apart. And
Oh, yeah.
this is where the first ideas of dark matter came, was actually from the Coma cluster. Because their relative velocity should cause them to basically fly apart, not cluster together like that.
Oh,
it was in the 30s that Franz Wicki analyzed and published a paper on this, and that was the first thing I think he didn't use the word dark, he used the word dunkel for darkness. At any rate, that was pretty amazing. I just wanted to show something
It all
else.
assumes you know what the mass of those galaxies is.
One of the highlights of Astronomy Day at the museum for me was that I caught a wonderful lecture by Megan Morantz, and she's done some lovely shot pictures of the Orion Nebula, and one of them was featured in a recent catalog or calendar that Joe Carr produced of her local images. So I just want to see if I can.
Wave your hands, Megan, so people know you're there.
She needs to turn her camera on if she's going to do that.
At any rate, she had this thing, and way back when in 2017.
There she is.
Thank you very much, Megan. That's great talk you gave. It inspired me to dig back. This is a picture taken by Dan Posey using the VCO Teleview refractor, and it's got 60 minutes of data from a Canon DSLR, and then a bit more, 150 minutes from a camera he had called the QSI. And you can see gorgeous detail in here. It is really amazing. But there's really a lot of stuff in here that we can't see, and this is what this is all about. There's a thing called the Very Large Telescope. It's in Paranel, Cerro Paranel in Chile, and the combined 4 telescopes would have the equivalent of a 16-meter telescope. But they had one telescope where they put a thing called the Hawk Wide Field Infrared Camera, and it had a bit different picture than what we would normally see. So this stands blow up, and this is going back, and they're roughly, there's a bit of rotation there, but it's the same area of the sky, and you can see some stuff that is a little bit different because it's infrared. It allows us to penetrate deeper into the Orion Nebula and see what's going on. But if you go into the sub-millimeter category with the CO, carbon monoxide, they could pick up strange things. These are the trapezium rather, these 4 stars here that show up on a previous picture. See if I can find it here. They're hard to see here. There's the trapezium there. And so what we're looking at is this area around here. You wouldn't think there's very much there. But this is called, this was the pathfinder for the Atacama array, or the ALMA array. So they had 2 of these dishes, one up there, and they had another one that was tested in, I think, New Mexico, and it's now sitting up in Cape. But at any rate, they found a whole pile of strong signals, in particular one just off in this area. And if we look at it, the trapezium's there. And so one of these things is called the Orion BN area. It's named after the initials of the 2 people who discovered this. And if you apply the ALMA array to this, you get a stunning improvement. Well, here's a blow-up of it. I've rotated a little bit. So that's the Orion B and the area there. And if you look through this array of telescopes, this is what they saw, obscured by all the cloud. Wow. And that's an explosion that took place 500 years ago. They can measure the radial velocity from that, all of that going out, and they can work it backwards, and they find out when that is. But that's just stunning, the power that this sort of instrumentation has in peering deeper into these areas. And I just find that really exciting. This was done nearly 10 years ago now, and there'll be all sorts of discoveries like this as this system moves forward. So this is from the Genuine South, similar area. And then we have the explosion around there. So at any rate, I don't want to take any wind out of Megan's sails, but she inspired me to look back at this stuff. It's just amazing what's going on in astronomy. And I think we're really lucky to be around at this golden age of astronomy. And I'll leave it there.
Wow.
Reg, I haven't seen that picture before.
That picture, if you were a diligent reader of Sky News, I did an article on that. So.
Oh, now you've really done it for me. Okay.
I could remember 9 years ago.
That was a mean-spirited remark, and I apologize.
Oh, no, it's completely true. I miss that. Yeah.
But the sad
Fantastic.
thing is, I almost forgot about it myself. So so at any rate, it's amazing time we live in. So is there any announcements?
I do actually. Beginners SIG tomorrow night. Just so that people are aware.
All right.
And do we have a monthly meeting next week?
Dan send something out.
Okay.
You think next week?
And
Yeah.
then there's the monthly on the 13th.
I'm waiting
13th
for
is,
to go up to the DAO tomorrow night and open that up to anybody who wants to come up.
Yeah, you put that announcement on the active observers list, and you'll have hordes of people coming up.
Just like all the times.
Yeah.
Can you hear Vince out there?
Yep,
Okay.
I can hear him.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a council meeting on May the 12th, which I believe is next week. And we've
Next
got a
Tuesday.
class hit night on May the 9th. And what about,
May the 13th is the meeting.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the meeting at UVic. Oh, Alex, is that what room is that in? The old room?
168.
Elliot again.
Oh,
with
again.
Parker
Okay.
last time.
Okay.
And who's talking? Do we know?
Megan is.
Megan? Okay.
Yay.
Okay. Great.
And there is a star party. There's star party on the 16th and it would be 14 days after that, the 30th.
Right.
And do you have topics for those?
I'm not sure who's speaking on those, and I don't have that information at my fingertips. But those will be two nights definitely for people to come up and put their telescopes up. Thanks to everybody who came out last week, and for Astronomy Day, of course, in the evening, to put their telescopes up. That was great for everybody who came out after an entire day at the museum, and then came back out again at nighttime to put things up. That was an amazing feat. Thank you for everybody. And then on Saturday night with David and Jill and Kirsten, who did the telescope clinic, and for CJ
and the mechanics.
right. So I was going to say CJ
Okay.
and Brock, who really worked hard with some people who brought up telescopes and asked people, say, hey, what do I do with this? So that was really good. So thanks to everybody who's doing all of that extra work up at the center. That's wonderful.
Okay, well, thanks Lauri. And I'd like to thank everybody who made presentations or contributions tonight. And I think that
Can I just say, Lauri is the host next week. The following week is Victoria Day, nothing. And then the last Monday of May, Chris Pearce will be the host. And then we will take a break until after the week after Labor Day.
Are we having a star
So-
party this year?
Yes.
Absolutely. The start party is on August. Let me just get this ready. August 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Okay. And I know that we have James help me from the
DeFrancesco.
DeFrancesco is going to be speaking one night, and I'll take suggestions for the second speaker. But that will be very good.
And just to say, Randy, so September 14th.
Is September
It'll be a late
14th?
restart this year.
Yeah, late because Labor Day is so late this year.
Yes.
But Labor Day will be busy for what reason, Lauri?
Greenwich Fair, yay! So we'll have to have a whole bunch more people that I will be collecting for 2 or 3 hours at a time for on those 3 days. We'd love to have everybody just do a little bit of time. Remember, you get you get in free if you do 1 3-hour part at the Saanich Fair. So if I will be calling people to get everybody to volunteer, and I would absolutely love to have somebody help me with that volunteer position, or so that I don't have to do it all by myself. I mean, the whole idea should be that we are passing on this and getting other people involved. So if anybody is willing to help me do some of the volunteer things for the Saanich Fair, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Well, with that, I think we're going to shut her down for tonight, but we'll be back next Monday night. And before I go, I'd just like to thank Kathy for making coffee and everybody who bought the cookies and stuff like that. And we'll party on.
And may the 4th be with you.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Wait, no, let me say that.